Hi everyone, today's video is called Linear Equations in Disguise, and the reason for that is because the first exercise that you have, it doesn't look like an equation that we've been using. Alright, it really looks like a proportion, which is really what it is. Alright, but we call it linear equations in disguise because once we start solving it, really we solve it the exact same way that we do a linear equation, except for the first step that we're going to do is to simply cross multiply. Alright, so let's jump right in here. We have 5 different examples today, so I want to get moving. Let's start with this one and let's cross multiply. So first step is we take x times 12 and we get 12x, and then we take 5 times 6 and we get 30. Alright, and after that first step, then these over here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, are exactly the same. Alright, so we try to distribute. Oh, we don't have any distribution. We try to combine like terms. Oh, there's no like terms to combine. Alright, we try to move all the variables to one side. Oh, we're all done with that too. And it's just simply left to do the algebra. And you guys have been doing this for a while, so we divide by 12. We divide by 12. Now here's something that is a little different. And 30 divided by 12, well, that doesn't go in nicely. It doesn't go in evenly. So we're big boys and girls now. Alright, we're going to just leave it as 30 over 12. And if we can reduce that fraction, well, then we'll reduce that fraction. Alright, 30 divided by 12, it can reduce by 2, and it becomes 15 over 6. And I'm going to leave it just like that. Alright, so there's my answer for number 1. And if I check it, I do it the same way. Alright, I plug in a 15 over 6 for x. And when I go to do the check, I do the same thing. I cross multiply. So this would be 15 over 6 times 12. I'm going to write 12 as a fraction since I'm going to multiply by a fraction. And that's 6 times 5 is the other cross multiplication piece there. Alright, and you may say, oh no, I have fractions, oh this is going to be really tough. Well, no, this is going to reduce. Okay, and 15 times 2 is 30, and 6 times 5 is also 30, so it checks out. Alright, so big thing is don't be afraid of the fractions. We're going to have to deal with fractions as we get older, so let's just take it on like we've already been taught to. So alright, so let's turn off this one. Let's put on the second one here, and again you can see why we're calling this a separate section here, because these are a little different. These are, again, it's a proportion, and these are some different terms that we're not used to seeing in proportion. So first thing, let's cross multiply. Alright, now here's where you got to be careful. It's 4 times the whole numerator up here. So see how I put parentheses in here, because I want to take 4 times the whole numerator. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take 2 times the whole numerator that is up here. So that's why I put parentheses around there. And now this first step is going to come into play. I've got to distribute. Alright, so I'm going to draw in my little arrows like we normally do. If you're good enough now that you don't need to draw in those arrows, that's fine. But if you do, that's fine too. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Alright, 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times a third is 2/3. Alright, and again, if you have to go off to the side and do that multiplication of 2 times a third, that's okay. Alright, so we've distributed. Alright, we're going to combine like terms. Now I look on the left side of this equation, there's no like terms to combine. I look on the right side and there's no like terms to combine, so check that off. Next, I want to move all my variables to one side, so I'm going to take this negative, or this 2, and take negative 2. I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. Alright, and again, usually I take the smaller of the x's and move that one first, so I'm going to cross it out over here. And what do I get here? I get 4x minus 2x, which is 2x. And everything else just comes right down for the next step. Alright, and then I've done move all the variables to one side, so now it's just simply, well, finish. Do the algebra. Solve for x. Alright, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And again, we have fractions to deal with, but we've done fractions. We've worked with fractions for a long time now. So if I have to, that's okay. I go over to here and I get myself a common denominator. Alright, because I'm adding fractions together. So common denominator between 3 and 1 would be 3. Alright, so this is going to stay as 2/3. This one, when I multiply by 3 on the top and the bottom, I'm going to get 12 over 3. So if I add those together, I get 14 over 3. Alright, so 14 over 3 goes right here. And to finish up, nothing different. I'm going to divide by 2. And again, if I need to go to the side and do my division of fractions, then I do that. Well, when I divide by a fraction, I'm going to write this as 2 over 1. Remember, I multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal of 2 over 1 is 1 over 2. And that's going to help because I'm going to be able to eliminate, or reduce, I should say, not eliminate, that to be 7 over 3. Okay, so x is 7 over 3. So there's my answer for x. Alright, and if I want to, I can do a check. Alright, I come over here and I just plug in a 7 over 3 every place I see an x. I'm not going to write the original over here. I'm just going to plug in a 7 over 3 every place I see an x. And you say, oh, you might say, oh, that's going to be really hard because I have to cross multiply. But now you've gotten rid of the variables over here. Alright, so really I can do this math first. I'm going to erase this 1 and I'm going to make it into a 3 over 3. Just going to get a common denominator. So 7 over 3 minus 3 over 3 is 4 over 3 over 2. And 7 over 3 plus 3 over 3 is 8 over 3 over 4. And really now you have a choice. You could cross multiply here, or you could just simply do the math over here. Alright, and actually I think it's going to be a little easier if I cross multiply this time. Alright, because if I multiply 4 over 3 times 4 over 1, let's see, I get 16 over 3. So one side is going to be 16 over 3. And if I multiply these two, 2 over 1 times 8 over 3, again I get 16 over 3. So that checks out. Alright, because those come up to be the same. Okay, so really very similar to what we've been doing. It's just this one extra step where cross multiplying first. Okay? So here's number 3, and this one is very similar to the one we just did. So again, I'm going to cross multiply. Alright? But again, remember I'm putting in these parentheses because it's 3 times the whole numerator up here and 7 times the whole numerator on this side. Okay, so now I just start going down my list. I distribute. Alright, again, I'll put in the little arrows here. If you don't need to, that's okay. Alright, but 3 times 1/5 is 3/5. 3 times, now if there is not a number in front of that x, we understand that there's a 1 there. So 3 times -1 is -3x. 7 times 2 is 14. So I get 14x. And 7 times 9 is 63. Okay. So I've done my distribution. I come over here and there's no like terms to combine. There's no like terms to combine. So I've done that. So now I need to move all the variables to one side. And this is the smaller x. So I'm going to move this one first. So since it's a minus 3x, I'm going to add 3x to both sides. These go away. Bring down the 3/5. Bring down the equals. 14x plus 3x is 17x. And bring down my 63. Okay, so I've moved all the variables to one side. And now I simply have to do the algebra. I've got to solve for x. Okay, so I'm going to move this 63. I'm going to take away 63. Okay, over here is pretty easy. That goes away and 17x comes down. Over here I've got to add, or I've got to subtract, actually. I've got to combine this 3/5, and I've got to take away, and I'm going to write 63 as a fraction. Okay, and we've done this since 5th or 6th grade. We need a common denominator, and common denominator between 5 and 1 is going to be 5. So that's going to stay the same. And when I multiply 63 times 5, I'm going to get 315 over 5. Okay, so I've got a common denominator, and I've got to take 3 minus 315. Well, I get negative 312 over 5. Okay, so that goes right here. Alrighty, and then one more step to go. Divide by 17. Divide by 17 over here. And I'm going to write this one over here. Just give me a little more space here. So that's negative 312 over 5. And I'm going to divide by 7 over 1. Well, again, when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? And I'm hoping that this could reduce. So let's see. What could I divide 7 by? Well, I could divide 7 by 7. So that's really my only choice here. And let's see if 312 will divide by 7. Let's see, 28. And I bring that down, and I get 32. And 32 divided by 7, well, it doesn't work. Right? It doesn't work because that only goes in 4 times. And I get 28, and I get a remainder. So I can't reduce that, so that's okay. Alright, when I multiply them together, I just get negative 312 on the top and a 35 on the bottom. Okay, so my x is going to be equal to negative 312 over 35. Alright, and there's my answer for x. And a lot of you guys may say, oh, well, that's not a good answer because we didn't get a nice even number or a nice whole number. But that's okay. All right, we're big boys and girls, and we can deal with fractions. All right, so I can plug that in, I can check it, and it'll check out for that equation. Now here's exercise 4, and again, very similar, but we have a proportion again. So the first thing we're going to do is cross multiply. Alright, well 7 times 8 is 56. And 1 times 3x plus 9 is 1 times 3x plus 9. Alright, now notice I wrote it like this to begin with, but really when I distribute the 1, it doesn't change anything in the parentheses. 1 times 3x is 3x. 1 times 9 is 9. So I can just drop those parentheses right out and write it like this. And I've done my distribution. There's no like terms to combine over here, so I've done that. All the variables are on one side, so I've done that. All I have left is to do my algebra, so I'm going to take away 9 from both sides. Those go away, leave me with 3x. 56 minus 9 is 47. And the only thing left is to divide by 3 on both sides. Alright, so x equals... Now when I take 47 divided by 3, it doesn't come out evenly or to a whole number. So I'm just going to leave it as 47 over 3. Alright, and that one wasn't too bad. That one was actually easier than the previous one, I think. Alright. Again, if I do a check, I can do a check for this one. 7 over 3, and I'm going to plug in a 47 over 3, where I see the x. I'll make that a little bigger here. Alright. And 1 over 8. And if I just do the math over here, well, when I take 3 times 47 over 3, really that's a fraction. Those 3's are going to cancel. Alright, so cool. So that's really 47 plus 9. Whoops, I don't want that quite as high there. Let's fix that. Alright, because I do have that 7. So I'm going to have 7 over, really that boils down to 47 plus 9. Okay, and 47 plus 9 is going to be 56. So it's really 7 over 56. Alright, and 7 over 56, well, that reduces to 1/8. So look, it checks out. Nice. Nice. Okay? Alright, now the last problem. Now we have a little picture, and this is going to relate back to what we did in the previous note packet here. Alright, in the diagram below, they tell me that these two triangles are similar, and if I know they're similar, that tells me that the sides are in proportion with each other. Okay, so that means I can set up a proportion using the corresponding sides. So I'm going to go big triangle, which is x minus 2, compared to small triangle, which is 9.5. Okay, and then I'm going to match it up again. I'm going to go big triangle, which is x plus 2, over small triangle, which is 12. Alright, so again, I went big triangle to small triangle, big triangle to small triangle. So that's where I got my proportion to start. Okay, so now it really is like the previous 4 examples that we've done. So I'm going to cross multiply 12 times x minus 2. Again, make sure you put the x minus 2 in parentheses. Alright, and then 9.5 times x plus 2. Alright, and now we just go down this list. We're going to distribute. So I'm going to distribute the 12. It's going to give me 12x, and 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. And then we're going to distribute over here. So 9.5 times x is 9.5x, and 9.5 times 2 is going to give me 19. Alright, so we've done our distribution. We're going to combine like terms. Well, there's no like terms to combine over here, and there's no like terms to combine over here, so we're done with that. Move all the variables to one side. Again, take the smaller one. 9.5 is smaller than 12, so I'm going to take away 9.5 on this side, and take away 9.5 x. I should have an x there on this side. Okay, and over here they go away, so I'm just going to be left with 19. And the negative 24 is going to come down, and I've got to do the math here. 12 minus 9.5, well, that's going to be 2.5x. Okay, and I've done that, so I'm going to check that off up there. I've moved all the variables to one side. So now I just solve for x. I'm going to do my algebra. So I'm going to add 24 to both sides here, and I get 2.5x because those go away. And let's see, 19 and 24, that would be 43. Alright, and last step, divide by 2.5. Okay, and if you have to, I get my calculator out. Okay, we'll bring up the calculator here. And let's bring it down so you guys can see it. And we're going to do 43 divided by 2.5. Okay, and I get 17.2. Alrighty, so x is 17.2. So what side am I looking? Oh, I'm just solving for x here. So it says just determine the value for x. So x is equal to 17.2. Alrighty, so just added in, the idea of a picture here, relating it to something instead of just giving you the equation and say solve it for x. Well, we just related to a picture, and really kind of hooking it together with something that we did in previous lessons. So, all right. So there you have it. If you use these examples when you do the assignment tomorrow, they're going to be very similar, but they're just going to have different numbers and different things to distribute and solve for x, etc. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.